Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles. My name is Danny De Lillo. I am so delighted to be joined here by Sarah Maddick with her amazing film Tamatoa. I love it so much, and we're live right now from Los Angeles to Auckland, New Zealand. So this is really exciting. But for those that haven't seen it, let's take a look at the clip.
Just because I don't speak doesn't mean I have nothing to say.
Sarah Louise, I loved your film so much. I want to give you a big hug. It was just such an incredible experience. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis of your film.
Okay, so Tamatoa is about a coming of age story about a young Māori boy named Toa who has autism and how he navigates the challenges of his condition with the outside world, as well as his internal perspective. Really at the heart of the film, it's about love, it's about family, it's about courage. And, I just really am grateful to be able to celebrate the Māori culture within this film and share it with the world. So thank you.
Well, I'm still got tears in my eyes from last time from when I saw it. Like it was such an incredible experience watching your film and your artistic vision. It was amazing, and I love the title of the film, and it's such a wonderful thing to discover for those who didn't know that that name means warrior, and what a warrior this young character is, such a wondrous warrior. So it's wonderful. Now you mentioned obviously a little bit about where kind of it inspired from, but where did it come for you in deciding that I want to turn this particular story into a film?
So with this film, it actually came about before I started my studies at South Seas Film School. I enrolled my 8-year-old son into primary school for the first time because we just migrated over to New Zealand from Australia. And my husband and I were really worried about how the school was, what their awareness was around autism, how the other children would be able to interact with him. We were just very concerned parents. And out of that kind of desperation as a parent came this idea of, well, how can I show my son that it's okay and he's going to be okay? How can I uplift him? And I just had this idea of, well, what if there's a Māori young boy somewhere in the world who's similar to him and is nonverbal, and what if through his culture and the love of his family and he is able to stand up for himself with a haka. And that idea stayed with me throughout my studies at film school. And the more I thought about it, the more important it felt to me to tell this story. So yeah.
I love when there's just a film for a filmmaker, when there's a film that is just like it sits with you until basically you have to make it, right? Like it was there, and like it was, and it's so nice to watch a film where you really feel the energy of the filmmaker, like through the film, and the importance of it and what you were trying to explore and showcase to the world. Now you had a brilliant cast. Like I just wanted to stay in their worlds. Like I was just so in love with the characters you brought forward. How was the casting process for you?
The casting process was amazing, but very, very manic because I potentially had somebody already considered for the main role for majority of the year. And then we had to change tactic basically last minute. So I had 3 weeks before shooting to find my new tour and to get everything sorted. So it was panic, but at the same time, I had a huge team of support behind me, all my teachers and friends from film school that really believed in the story and stepped up to try and help me figure it out and find the people that I needed. So I was really lucky to be introduced to Taloa and Manaki Kearns, who in real life are a mother and son.
Yes, isn't that, I discovered that. It's amazing.
Yeah, so it was so awesome to be able to share like my story and my script and my vision with another mother and son that felt really compelled to take on these characters and were really committed to bring the story to life. So yeah, it was amazing.
I mean, it's obviously they are mother and son, which is a rarity to find, I have to say, in any casting situation. But obviously their chemistry was already there. But how do you, from a director standpoint, like how do you work with your actors, particularly when there's a lot of hard hitting feelings for both the mother and for the son in very different ways. How's your kind of process with them? Is it improvisation? Like how do you work with them?
I'm quite protective of my actors, and I'm very particular about the interaction with the other crew members as while my actors are preparing to go into a scene. Um, I always come from a place of compassion and empathy. So a lot of the times before we run lines or even think about rehearsing or blocking a scene, we really dig deep into the characters. And I ask them heaps of questions like, what do you think that this would feel like? If you were Tor and you couldn't communicate verbally like, normal other
Yeah.
children your age could, how would that feel? And then with Lani, I just said the truth. And I said, you have a son who is amazing and loving and sensitive and such a beautiful soul, but you're afraid that somebody's going to hurt him. And I just want you to sit on that fear a little bit in the back of your mind
Mhm.
as we progress into the story. And they were amazing. And they just took the story and ran with it. And I was so fortunate to have them.
I mean, your film is just gonna sit with me forever, it's a film that no one can ever forget once they've watched it. And I'm just curious for you, being a mom that's got a very special boy, and working for us as a family, like there's different elements to it. There's people, I'm sure you've been a kind of almost a therapeutic kind of experience on screen for other families that may have had similar things to unravel and experience together as a family, but also an education for others as well. Was that kind of something that you were also thinking about?
Oh, 100%, 100%. That's definitely something that I would love to do, to be able to take Tamatoa around to different schools and just talk to them about it. Obviously, I'd love to have a whole team of different educational professionals that work within the autistic community to be able to really do justice in regards to spreading awareness. And hopefully the film will be able to give like a visual representation of one individual's
Hmm.
perspective. So it is biased, but at least the children will be able to have something they can see visually that they may be able to be like, ah, that's how that feels. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's just a lot easier for them to foster empathy if they're able to be given some type of visual demonstration,
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
definitely would love to do that in future.
Oh, it should be in every school. Every school should be watching this film. I mean, on so many different levels. I mean, definitely from, unfortunately, bullying is universal. That's one thing. That's a horrible thing that many children and families have to go through. And children can be so cruel. And especially with, nonverbal doesn't mean then, these children, are not thinking if they're not verbalizing. So, that's another, perspective that I think other children and teachers and families all need to kind of know and understand. And then there's this again, this and I don't want to give too much away, but the beautiful element of the Haka was just a mesmerizing. How was that experience, bringing that into the film, and also working with a young actor you know, and kind of what this means and what it is and what it resonates and what it should feel like. How was that experience for you as a director?
That's a big question, but I'll do my best.
Oh,
It was a lot. It was a lot. Obviously, this is my first film ever written and directed, so there's already yeah, there's a lot of prep that goes into it, but to put a haka on top of it and then to be working with children, like child actors, and then to put in the mix my grandmother, who's my real grandmother, in the beginning. Oh, yeah, it was just like my teachers said to me, they're like, you might as well just put animals in there and you've got basically all the 4 things that we say never to do as a first-time filmmaker. But you know, it was just so, I felt like it was so important that we had a haka, obviously towards the conclusion of our film. And Manaki was amazingly professional, and what we did was we went out and spoke to the creator of this particular haka, which is called Putanga, to Hedawini Jones, and his son taught us the haka, and I filmed the rehearsals, and we did subtitles on there just to make sure that like my actor had all the material ready to go. All he did was just plug it into a TV and chuck it on. But he did that, like I said, we had 3 weeks before we went into shooting. So he was learning a whole script, embodying a character, and learning a haka on top of it. So he deserves all the admiration and opportunities coming his way because he is so talented and committed.
wow. I mean, listen, I mean, I think a haka is like one of the most mesmerizing, moving experiences you can partake or visualize or see. And I'm so glad it was just so much beautiful strength that came through Toa. Like at the end, it was just so great. A big defeat to those bullies, but just such great passion and pride. It was such a beautiful experience. Was that kind of something also, you know, just to kind of, because there's so much beautiful history and culture that comes with it. Was that something that you wanted to kind of resonate with this young boy as a strength of overcoming? Because it really showed in the film.
Yes, 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 yes to everything you just said.
Oh, it was. It was amazing. Just amazing. You know. Goodness me. I just. Yeah. Sorry. Anyways, please continue.
Oh, thank you so much. It was tricky, to be honest with you, because, you know, we were at a kura at a particular school, Te Kura Kaupapa o Mangere, out in South Auckland. And while we were shooting parts of the scene towards the end of the film, because we did part takes, all these kids were watching as Manaki was about to do the haka, and I could feel his nerves coming through, and the panic kind of sat on his face. So I pulled him aside and I said, it's okay. They're about to go back into class. Just run it with me. And if you're really, really nervous, what I did was I actually got the other boys who played the bullies to do the haka with him.
Oh, that's
To
such a.
uplift him. Yeah.
That's such a. Wow, you know what I mean. Of course, you're a mom. You know how to, you know, take care of your child and young people. But I mean, listen, I could have gone into a lot of technical stuff, but I was so in love with this story and what you wrote and brought to us that was really the most important part of your film. And we're very lucky that if this is your first film, there's a lot of great things going to be coming from you, which is very exciting. So it is really good. Listen, it's been a joy to have you at New Filmmakers LA. What's it been like sharing your film? We certainly loved having it at our film festival, but how's that experience been like for you with your first film too?
It's been amazing. Like, I can't thank you guys enough for having me here.
Oh,
This has been the most delightful experience. And I know that we're just doing this virtually, but I am so incredibly grateful. The amount of people that have reached out to me and, you know, told me personally that they loved the film, and also my other filmmakers that I've been able to meet and see their work. It's just, You guys are doing a phenomenal job.
Oh,
And I just completely commend you on all of your hard work and everybody behind the scenes, because I know how difficult this must be. But thank you so much.
oh no, we're so grateful, and I just want to, we can't do it without filmmakers like yourself, and I just, I honestly believe that your film, being put into schools, can save lives, and educate lives, and I think that's how important your film is. So, whenever we keep making your film, get it in every school in the world, we'll try and support you making that happen, because that's how important your film is, and it really should be seen by a lot. I am curious, what is next for you on the horizon? What are you working on next, writing next? I know it's a very difficult time, but is there anything next you're working on?
Yes. I've written 2 short films just to kind of test the waters a little bit and see how we go. But the 2 short films I've written, just really quickly, I've written one called Powder, which is about a young brown girl who comes home after a really tedious day at school for being picked on because of the color of her skin. And she wants to change the color of her skin. She's decided she wants to be white.
Oh,
So that's Powder. And
wow.
then the second short film I've written is called Judge and Justice. And that's kind of like a dual narrative. And it talks about how essentially when we come across people in the street, you never really know if that person's a stranger and what their connection is to you.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm really excited to see where that one will go. Also, I'm working on a drama feature, my first feature,
Wow.
which is heavily under wraps because this is like my embryonic stage.
Yes.
Um, but it's called Beloved, and it basically talks about, um, my protagonist, Fuya, finding out after 30 years that she's a love child. Because I think universally now, with the availability of DNA testing and things like that, a lot of people are starting to find out some very buried secrets in families. And so I really want to explore that narrative and see how that goes too.
I'm ready for all of this, Sarah Louise. Like, I'm ready for all of them. So I know no pressure or anything, but I'm absolutely ready for it. So this is really, really exciting. I just want to say, like, this is your first film, and if you can do this in your first film, goodness me, we really can't wait for your next films. And thank you for being part of our New Filmmakers LA family. And we just can't wait to see much more of your projects. But thank you for this very, very special film, and what a warrior Tamatoa is. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.